Hey, Internet world. Thanks for joining us here this, afternoon now. Sorry for the little bit delay. We had some technical difficulties, but we're thankful that you're joining with us or you're watching this afterwards. Thanks for joining us. We are the River Church. My name is Caleb Combs, and this is my great uncle, Jayson Combs. And so, not my big brother, great uncle. And so, thanks for joining us with us this morning. We are so pumped for Family Month. Jayson is our family pastor here at the River Church, and so really loves families, loves helping equip them, helping work through different scenarios and issues. And how long have you been doing it?
Family pastor or family ministry?
Family ministry.
I started in 2000, so I was a youth pastor for about 16 years, and then have been the family pastor here for 3 years.
Perfect. And so seen lots of different trends and different things, and really the explosion of the internet. And so our goal for the next really 4 weeks around here at the River Church, and then also if you're not here at the River Church, you're not seeing anything we're doing, but someone has shared this on social media or the internet, and you're now going, wow, this is helpful for my family. That's our goal, is to help equip families. So for the next 4 weeks around here at the River Church, we are highlighting the family. We realize families look different. Your family looks different than mine. That looks different than Jayson's. That looks different than other people that are watching. And so that's okay. Our goal is not to go, hey, your family should look this way. We believe God created biblical family, but families have gone through lots of different looks and effects and how that looks. And so our goal is to look through and help equip families through lots of different avenues and things. And so for the month, we've created a theme, family chemistry. And so we've written a book dealing with chemistry and how it works. We know in chemistry, putting things together the way they're supposed to, good things happen. They're bonded together. But we know when you put things together wrongly, explosions happen. Mm-hmm. And so I can assure you, if you ever took chemistry in high school or college, you watched that one person overflow their beaker or some element of chemistry class. And so our goal is to realize that's going to happen in the family. How do we deal with that? How do we work with that? And so for the next few weeks, we've got some activities working through as well. And so we've got date night, February 15th, for engaged and married couples up at Frankenmuth. And so that's closing registration in a few days. And so we have a few spots left. There's not a lot of spots open. And so if you'd like to participate with us with that, visit theriverchurch.cc. And so you can see the details for that. It's a great night. You want to tell them about family bowling at the end of the month?
Yeah, family bowling, February 24th. We rented out a bowling alley in Waterford and then one in Grand Blanc for our multiple locations. But it's just a time to get families together, to have church family, just to hang out. And last year we had an amazing time, and just looking forward to this year. But February 24th in Waterford and Grand Blanc.
Yep, so Grand Blanc Lanes, Century Bowl in Waterford, $6 a person, 6 to 8. That includes shoe rental. If you'd like to wear shoes from the bowling alley.
I just like socks.
You just wear socks?
Just socks.
Okay, that's cool. So no, I know you professional bowlers bring your own shoes, and
their own ball.
So come on out. Any level of bowling, we're gonna laugh with each other, at each other. You can laugh at me. I'm okay with that. And so looking forward to getting together with my church family and participating in that. And so that is February the 24th. And so you see kind of a theme throughout the month of family. And so we're helping with activities and marriages and equipped with curriculum. But we thought throughout the week we wanted to do some sort of extra teaching, equipping to take some time to realize that there's other things going on in the family. And so we work through some different themes and different concepts. And so our goal for the next 4 Wednesdays, 3 after this, is to work through some specific topics. And so we'll be advertising those with you and talking about them. And you don't have to just join us live, and that's okay. And so we'll be taking your questions live. We've got some great help with us to let us know your questions and work through them. I will tell you this. I am not an expert in this. Jayson is more of an expert in this. I'm going to try to answer biblically. We may give you, we're going to answer that next week or answer offline because there's some personal issues and working through some different things. But we know that dealing with the family is difficult. And it takes a lot of chemistry, obviously mixing God and the chemistry first. And so the first topic we wanted to talk about this week is digital dangers. I told Jayson as we were walking out, how ironic. We're dealing with digital dangers through social media on a digital device. But we know the digital world we live in is extremely, extremely dangerous. I was talking to a friend. We're talking about doing even more enhanced on dealing with how to protect you in the digital world from people scamming you to taking your information. And so doing a lot of that. And so trying to realize that we know the digital world out there is extremely dangerous. So I do want to warn you. And so we realize now it's not really a snow day, it's an ice day. And so we know it's an ice day. And so you may have young ears around. Some things we're going to talk about are, I guess, PG-13.
Sure.
And so you can go ahead and watch us later. I'm not discouraging you from logging off right now, but we just want to protect you. We don't want to say anything, but we realize the digital world is dangerous. And so Jayson and I were talking about a story of all different concepts and facets, and from cell phones to gaming systems to television to the internet it's at your fingertips every single second. The dangers of the digital world, and I love the digital world because, man, I like being able to do my finances through digital world. I like being able to access different things and look up information. However, with the positive comes the negative. I was telling Jayson, my son last year started to play this famous game. Most of you have probably heard of Fortnite. And so my son he's 10 now, but he was 9 at the time. And I didn't know a lot about it, which was a parent fail on letting my child. So I'm admitting this to you. I didn't know a lot about it. And so just letting him play this game. And so you can parent judge me, okay, I failed. And so, or whatever you want to do. But I did know that you could have conversations with others online. And I'm not okay with my son having online conversations, whether that's friends or others around. And so I always want to be protective. So I said, hey, Carter, you cannot have any questions or have any conversations. And so I know that people have dumb conversations. Come to find out, I was able to catch him. He didn't have anything extremely dangerous, but somebody online, an 18-year-old female, I don't know, they said they were 18-year-old female, lonely, looking for someone to talk to, and asked how old my son was. And he's 9. And needless to say, he no longer plays Fortnite. And so he was
and we're not here to judge you to say you're bad if you let your kid play Fortnite. We're here to tell you it's dangerous, we have all been infiltrated in our house, and everything from our phone, our TV, our video game systems, they all have this ability, to, we're able to access so many things that can hurt our kids, can hurt ourselves. And
it's not just our children. I love that. That's a great point. It's not just kids. Men, I'm looking right at you. You may not be watching this, and your wife may be forcing you to watch this later. You know what I'm talking about. And so we've got some really, I would say, discouraging statistics to talk through. We're going to walk through those. So I do want to let you know we do have some tough topics to talk about. And so please watch this later if you don't get through it now. And so that's okay. And so I don't know if you want to kind of give a synopsis of how you want to go, where you want to go.
Sure.
We'll go through that. I do want to, as we go through this, comment on them. You can write some questions. Be positive on the comments. You may disagree with some of the things we're saying. That's okay, but I'm sorry.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. You don't have to be a jerk on social media. We don't want to create that. So
people are jerks on social media?
Never. I've never seen anyone. So go ahead. I don't know where you're going.
So as we talked about specific topics to do, as I worked with student ministry for a long time, you see this thing of digital dangers, how it's growing, how dangerous it is. And so we first kind of want to scare you a little bit. You can't be a novice in this area, especially with children. You can't close your eyes to this and go, my kid will be okay. We know the Bible says that foolishness is in the heart of a child, and it is our responsibility as parents to fight for our kids, and it's a battle. It's a war. Like, if you don't think this is a battle, then you're just not watching what's going on. And so I just wanted to give you a couple statistics. Places we go, like Covenant Eyes is a great place to look at statistics, and Web Root Security has done some studies along with Barna, and we want to give you some stats so that some of you who don't know what's going on, this can kind of open your eyes. But just to read you a couple things, 90% of boys, 70% of girls. Understand this thing of pornography and digital dangers is not just a boy thing anymore. This has changed. So 90% of boys, 70% of girls ages 13 to 14 report accessing porn at least once in the previous year. 35% of boys are viewing porn online too many times to count. 69% of boys, 23% of girls surveyed said that they have spent at least 30 consecutive minutes viewing porn on at least one occasion. And so we can walk you through all these stats, but our goal is to open up your eyes to go, this is what's going on.
Well, I love that you wrote, we got this notes, and as most people think, well, you know what, classic when we were growing up, and so I can say, in the early 90s, you had the one computer in the household that you went to, and there was everyone was using a household computer. It's not simply the computer. Yeah, I love this. Computers, phones, video games, television, Nintendo Wii, Wii U, 2DS, 3DS, Xboxes, PS2, PS3, PS4. What is a PS143? Don't even know what that is. iPads, iPods, Kindles. Every app has some different digital dangers to it. iTunes and anything that accesses the internet. And I don't want you to think, man, are you guys or that guy that's trashing you? You're not letting your kids. No, my kids have a lot of these things. They have a PS4. They have different gaming systems, and they have access to an iPad. And so, but we realize there are dangers to these things, and it's a different world, and it's only continuing to get more dangerous because all the access points. And so that's something we do want you to understand. And I do continually will echo, Jason, it's not just your children. It's you, moms, dads, grandparents, and dealing with it is every single place you go. It is a dangerous digital world.
Sure. I mean, over 28,000 users are watching porn every second on the internet. $3,000 is spent every second on the internet. Like, it is a crazy industry that's trying to get at your kids. I mean, and that's the thing, you look at stats, like most kids say they have accidentally, not even trying to find, but have been sent pornographic pictures because the industry is trying to get to your kids. A couple more things I want to share before we go into, what does that look like application-wise? Only 43% of teens believe porn is bad for society. That's a huge stat, and it's something that one of the scariest sentences to me, especially as a youth pastor, was kids will be kids, and it's a dumb statement. How about that?
Or I like the other one. Well, the kids are just sowing their wild oats. They're just learning. The Bible says you reap what you sow, and so what you're planting in your life will end up growing. And so it's a continual thing.
And we always want to share with you the word, like Proverbs 11:14 says, where there is no guidance, a people fall. But in an abundance of counselors, there is safety.
That's good.
And that's, as parents, we have to keep our kids safe, right? We want to teach them to make decisions, right? It's not here going, we just want you to be a helicopter parent to stand there and to make all your kids' decisions. No. We want you to move them toward making decisions. But if you're not protecting them and fighting the fight, we're not doing what God's called us to do. So 1 out of 3 Americans seek out pornography at least once a month. 49% of young adults say all or most of their friends use pornography regularly. And last one, I like the stat. 71% of teens have done something to hide what they do online from their parents.
That's good. You had some stats on men and women on there too. Where were that? Because I think we think it's a young man's game or young person's game.
Right.
I thought it was was it 50% of married men?
Yeah, 55% of married men say they watch porn at least once a month. 70% of unmarried men watch it. 70% watch once a month.
Yeah, it's a crazy epidemic, and I love that the thought process that this world is coming to get you. Because the Bible teaches to stand guard. I mean, talking about putting on the full armor of God, and I think sometimes we think that is just not literal, and so we think, oh, you know what, it'll be fine. Man, Satan's not walking in the door and he's not trying to take me out. No, the Bible teaches put on the full armor of God, because every single day is a battle. Every single day, not like, oh, you know what, next Friday I'll be preparing for a battle. No, the Bible describes the enemy as a roaring lion seeking who may devour. So the day that you're not paying attention, guess what? Boom, you're taken out. And you have to stand guard. And our goal for the next few minutes, and we'd love for you to take questions, and you can comment on them, or you can message us afterwards. Either way, we want to help equip families, is to equip you with this. We're not trashing any of these systems. Obviously, we're trashing pornography, but we're not trashing if you have an Xbox. We're none of that, okay? Don't walk away and think, oh my goodness, we have 2 iPhones on here. And so we're also, we're just trying to help and equip you. And so if you want personal advice, I know Jayson and our family ministry here do that every single day.
All the time.
And so we want to do that. And so our goal for the next few minutes is give you some action steps, how that works, how to help you as a family. And so we'd love to go even deeper, but we realize we're on a limited time.
Sure.
And so we will continue to do this. But please ask questions, comment afterwards. And so let's jump in there.
One last thing of kind of just informing you. There's a thought out there, if a lot of kids are doing it, it's probably okay. Things like Fortnite. One of the most popular video games of all time is something called Grand Theft Auto. And these are things that just because the world is doing it, a lot of times we put the okay stamp on it. Well, it's rated T7, so it's fine for my kid, or it's, and the dangers, and to take you through even a couple series before Grand Theft Auto, just to be a little graphic here. In Grand Theft Auto, you can get in a car and go pick up a prostitute. And you take the prostitute to a back alley, and they don't show anything, but they have your car in the distance, and then you know what's going on in the car. And then right after that, you kick the prostitute out of the car, and then you run her over to kill her. And that's the most popular game out there. These are things that are readily available for our kids. And so if you don't I guess the big thing is understand this is a fight. My son is 8, and he knows I will fight the world for him. And whatever that takes, like, this is a battle. And it's so much easier to go, I just don't want to deal with it, because it's everywhere. You go on your Fire Stick TV. Do you know the apps you download are free TV apps have available pornography just like that. Not monitored, your free TV apps. And I hope you know this. Your kid's better than you are. They're better at technology than you are. They'll beat you.
Yep. I don't care if they're 8 years old.
I'm telling you. I was just talking to a couple last night and talked about how a 9th grader hacked Channel 7 News because they were doing a voting thing, and he hacked their whole system so that he could have their school win a voting competition. They're better than you are. So if you don't think you're in to work at this thing and to fight for this thing, then you're not really realizing what's going on.
Yeah, I love what you said. My dad always used to say, and I hear his voice echoing in my head, even as you said it. You said you'll fight the world for your son. My dad always would say, I'll fight the world for you. I'll fight your friends for you. I'll even fight you for you. Because my goal is, at the end, is to raise you in the to understand that living for Christ is what we're supposed to do, and doing right is what we're supposed to do. And so it is a constant fight. And so we don't want you to do. We're not the sky is falling guys. We're not.
Sure.
Like, oh my goodness, turn off the internet. We're putting tinfoil hats on. Okay. We're not that person. But we do realize this is a real active thing, and so.
But we also say there may be some changes you need to make in your life. You know, like just because everybody has internet access and has TV, and maybe you go, you know what, for my family right now, the temptation where my family is at, I'm going to have to change some of these things.
That's fantastic. Well, and you can even go even one step further. I mean, a couple steps. As a man, you're like, man, my biggest temptation is on my phone. Guess what?
Flip phone.
Get a flip phone that can't access the internet. You're like, I can't do that. I would look. Guess what? Maybe you need to.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Or even crazier, don't have a cell phone and get a home phone. Yes, those are still available, I believe. And so maybe you don't need to have a cell phone. Maybe you don't need to have access to this. And so we're going to talk a little bit about getting access, having accountability, and working through those different things. But it is so important that you realize the dangers in the digital world.
So we asked the question, how do you protect your family then? What do you do? Do you go and get in a box, and just, what do you do? And our first thing is accountability. I was reading a report on Covenant Eyes that says we must teach our kids that accountability is not a last resort, but a lifestyle. We don't get our kids to accountability because we see the mess. We create accountability because that's the lifestyle that we live. We want you to know, like every staff member who has a computer on staff, they all have something called Covenant Eyes on them. That everyone, like I'm head of the family team. Everyone on the family team, their computers are monitored by Covenant Eyes. Crazy. I know what every youth pastor in our church, the websites he visits, everyone is sent to me.
Pastors wouldn't need to have accountability.
Yes, it's what we are. It's something that we're all doing. Why? Because accountability is a lifestyle. We don't get above that. And so realizing that accountability is so important. So what comes with accountability is, and we want you to know this, it's not about sneaking stuff with your kid. Like, it's not about this sneaking, like, I'm going to go sneak their phone and find out I'm going to go sneak their... No. We're up front with our kids. Yeah, and you tell them, like, oh, no, I'll be on your phone. And it's because, here's the thing, sneaking creates distrust. Sneaking creates sneaking. But you have to be upfront and be real and go like, yep, I know all of your friends do this, but I love you enough that I don't trust this. And this may hurt you, and I know you may not like me in this time, but again, I'm going to fight the world because I'm going to keep you safe, and I'm going to hopefully help you learn to make right decisions on your own.
You are not called to be your child's best friend.
Yes.
You're called to parent your child.
Yeah.
And so
we could spend a while on that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I love that what you said, sneaking creates sneaking. It's open and honest. And I realize that's not everyone's personality. I'm going to give you a quick upfront concept of my thought. It's not my personality. My personality is not to come confront you or confront my kid. It's not who I am. I would rather figure out a way around it or work through it. No, confrontation is a key element of accountability. But knowing how to do that and doing it in love. And so you're a man, you're watching right now, you're going, man, Caleb, I need to create some accountability. Easy. Get an accountability partner. Somebody that will really confront you, not somebody that'll go, oh, it's okay, I did it too, or it's not that big of a deal. No, it's destroying your marriage. It's destroying your children. It's destroying all the elements of your following God. It really, the digital dangers can erode your entire walk with God.
And the truth is, Dad, he knows.
Yeah,
he knows, and so when this is something that you're struggling with and not getting accountability and not dealing with, he knows. Why? Because he's better at technology than you are, and so that's why it's so important for us to have accountability. Because if we're going to speak truth into our kids' lives, we got to be living truth through our lives, and it's important.
Not hypocrites as a dad going blasting your kids about looking at porn, and then as soon as they're out, then you're going, oh, that's
they know.
They know.
Yep. So we wanted to give you a couple just ideas for monitoring, right? Here's the thing with computers. Don't put them in a hidden room. Like computers, don't put them in basements or bedrooms. And I know all these phones are computers, but we have our laptops and making sure your kids understand, like when we're on computers, we're on these things, we're out in the open. It is not a hidden area. Dads, it's not a hidden area. If your computer, you have no accountability on your computer, it's not a good place.
Throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, and there are so many good, monitors that are out there. Covenant-ized, again, we've spoken of that a couple times. That's what we use. But there are many great monitors of that.
They're cheap. They're not. It's not. I know what you're thinking, man. You're advertising for them. No, we're not getting kickback from Covenant-ized unless they want to and they're watching. We'll take. I'm just kidding. But no, we're trying to give equipment. I love what you put on this, Jay. Step one, it put monitor, but it didn't just stop with one single monitor.
Yeah.
Monitor. Yeah. It's a constant. It is in your face. It's continuing to check.
Yep. Yeah, because it changes. And the other thing, like Wi-Fi in our homes, like don't let your kids know the passwords. Why? Because there are so many things that connect to Wi-Fi. Do you understand, like 3 generations ago with Nintendo, so they have the Switch, they have the Wii U, they have the Wii, like those are all internet accessible, which means they can explore the World Wide Web. Do we still call it that? And they can access anything. I've had stories of moms coming to me going, my older son, my teenage son, got after it took his little sister's DS, which is a little, it's like a kid's video game system, and just so he could get access to the internet. And
it was a great Christmas gift. Yet it turned into a detriment to their growth.
Yep. And again, this starts young. I mean, this is not a 14, 15, 16. This is an 8, 9, 10-year-old thing. And so monitoring these things, installing, monitoring and blocking software, keeping up to date with your kids' friends. Listen, they can go over their friend's house and access things, and that's what you have to know. You have to discuss with other parents what's going on. Again, social media, all these things have so many dangers, and why? Because the devil wants to get in. Even with things like Facebook, you can go, well, I want you to know that I get Facebook friend requests from basically pornographic websites, and they will just request you. These are things that are just, they're at your kids' fingertips, and so being able to watch that, to guard that, to have passwords, to have those things.
Yeah, and I think tying the accountability and lack of sneaking. Openly monitor together.
Yeah.
Openly monitor. Hey, what do we look at? You're not going, hey, let me have your phone out, let me figure this out. No, openly monitor. It's a good thing. And you said this earlier, and I thought it was so good. The concept of your child is going to be 18 one day. They're going to go off to college. They're going to have their own house, apartment, and it's going to come faster than you think. And so we know that we go, okay, that a world's coming. You may not be able to monitor them when they're 18.
Yeah.
They may let you have that access to their life, but helping them make and create self-control, different aspects of their life, and go, okay, now I have these elements so that I can make these decisions, so that I can go, hey, Mom, Dad, will you still help me monitor, be accountable to somebody? Dad, will you help me? Can we be each other's accountability partners? Can I make sure you're not looking at stuff?
Sure.
Can I make sure I'm not looking at stuff? Mom, will you help me make sure that everything that I've downloaded is okay? Will you help protect me? Protection.
Yep. And it's a constant battle. The TVs in my home, they have are password protected, so anything over PG. Now, do I watch shows over PG? Yes, okay.
Sinner.
Some TV7 shows. No, like I do. But everyone is password protected, so that even if my son goes and turns on the TV, the scary thing is he can turn on the TV from the night before, and there can be something on the show the next day. And so it's always blocked out. He doesn't know the password, and so it's always many times, and most channels are over TV7, so that it's gonna, and it's annoying. I got to put in a 5-digit thing every time I flip to a show. It's worth the annoyance.
That's good.
So we could spend a lot of time on these because right now, my son's in 3rd grade, your son's in 4th grade, and his friends are getting these. And so the battle is, Dad, when will I get one of these? And never. These, I'll tell you, to me, they're one of the most dangerous things there is, because they're so accessible, and the apps that are out there. See, you can put monitoring on your phones, and you can monitor their website very easily. Look it up. It's so simple. You can monitor their apps, what apps they download. And I would encourage you to do that. I would never let my teenager have access to download apps, ever. I would never give them access to internet websites, and you can go and set up really good defense mechanisms on the phone, but they can get to apps and go through apps and go around all of those systems, and it's just a very dangerous thing. I have stats on sexting, which is huge now, and if you're not monitoring those things, and some recommendations, flip phones are a really cool thing. They even have those phones. Because I've had parents, I have a conversation, I'd say, then if he's struggling on the phone, take the phone away. And they're like, well, what happens when he needs a ride? And I'm like, there are these really cool block things that basically they call one number. Give it to your kid.
Yeah.
And they can call, they have watches now that can call, they have flip phones, and I know that's not going to be popular, but I don't care about being a popular parent.
Yeah, I think we get that. I get that question all the time, and I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
When is the right time to buy my kid a phone? And I don't think there's a specific age.
No, all kids are different.
Kids are different, and monitoring is different for each kid. And so we realize it's not just a one-size-fits-all, that it's supposed to be, when a kid hits 16, buy him a cell phone. Mm-hmm. If your kid has a car and you would need to get him a cell phone, get him a cell phone. But maybe you don't give him access to having a full internet-based phone. Maybe you get him a flip phone. Those are okay things. Or guess what? Maybe you never buy your kid a phone. I want you to hear this. There is nothing wrong with that, okay? Yeah. Don't feel like as a parent, man, I'm missing out. It's not. It's okay. There's other people. I realize there's not really pay phones anymore, but there's access points. Did you like that, pay phone?
I know. My son, who's 8, saw one time, was like, what is that, Dad? It's so funny. But just another recommendation before we move on and talk about some teaching points. I would recommend, don't let your son or daughter have their phone at night. If you feel like it's important for them to have a phone and you found them to be responsible for those, I would highly recommend when they go to bed, they don't get to plug in their phone next to their bed. Here's what I found. Many times there are kids who want to do what's right, like they're wanting to follow the Lord. Yeah. But at 3 a.m. in the morning, man, are those defenses down. And same for me. I want to follow the Lord, but there are weaknesses that I don't allow myself to walk into. And that would be a high recommendation if you feel like a phone's important for them. Don't let them have it at night when they go to bed, because that's when they're able to access friends, texting, videoing, all of those things at night, and there's a danger there. So we kind of want to wrap up as we what do we do? Accountability, monitoring, but lastly, we want you to teach your kids. It's so important, this thing of teaching. That it's not about just being a helicopter parent and going, no. It's about teaching them and giving them tools to be able to when they are 18, to make those decisions. I went to a conference one time, and a guy shared a story I thought was really good. He said, I have a teenage daughter who's 19 now, but he said, we went, and she wanted to start downloading music when she was 13. And so he created a system. And when she was 13, what they did to download music, and FYI, I challenge you to go to iTunes right now and just go to popular music and look at the top 10 albums. Just look at the top 10 album covers because you're going to be grossed out. And it is I haven't looked, but go look at the top 10 iTunes
Just
album.
read the titles of the albums.
Yeah. I mean, have fun with that. But so his daughter wanted to listen to music. Great. So what he did, he set up a system when she was 13 that she would go. They would get together, look at the song, they'd print off the lyrics, they'd read the lyrics together, and he would make a decision whether that was okay or not. When she was 15, she would print off the lyrics. They'd come and they'd discuss the lyrics together, and they would make a decision together, should this be a good song for me to have? By the time she was 18, she would print off the lyrics and go, Dad, I've read the lyrics. This is what it is. I think it's okay. And he'd go, great. Well, because the goal is to teach our kids to make those decisions. We don't want to throw them in the fire and go, okay, hopefully you get out. No, it's helping them and teaching them that when they are 18, they're making those wise decisions. And so it's not a just take, put up fences, guard, don't know why. It's a continual talking to our kids, helping them understand why, and they're not always going to agree, and that's okay, but hopefully you're getting them to making decisions on their own so that when they are an adult, they continue to make those right decisions. Just think of the famous verse that says that train up a child in the way that he should go, that when he is old, he'll not depart from it. And so there is this training, this teaching that's so important.
Yeah, I love it. Ephesians chapter 5, 15 through 17. Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, with wisdom. I mean, there's a constant wisdom, making the best use of the time because the days are evil. I don't know about you, but I would probably agree with that assessment. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is.
Yeah.
And it's teaching it constantly. It's not, Mom, Dad, this is my opinion. No, this is what the Bible teaches. And that's our goal, is to train children in God's Word.
One thing I would like to teach you, because it's something that our society doesn't really talk about, is the harm of pornography. It's such a kids will be kids, or it's not really that big deal. I'd love for you to go look up some stats on what happens to the brain when you have access to pornography. And just to give you a couple things, what it does to the brain, when a person views it, it releases powerful hormones and neurochemicals. It's like a drug. And here's the thing, the brain eventually gets used to it. And now the brain will require different and greater variety to get the same fix. Works the same way as a drug. Consequences of that, the earlier a kid is exposed to it, the more likely, this is studies, they are for chemical dependency.
Wow.
The greater attraction to the area of casual sex, premarital sex, and adultery. This comes with viewing pornography. And so there are all these, I mean, we're in a society that, is looking at, taking care of the women, the lady in our society, and elevating them. That's not looked down on. I would beg to differ. I think in our society, women are more looked down than ever. More looked down upon than ever. Why? Because there are so many men who have moved to women are just something used for their pleasure. And it is something where, just read you a stat, men are more likely to stereotype women as sex figures to meet their sexual demands. And it's the danger of going, it's not really a big deal. The consequences of that, the studies have showed that kids who are struggling with pornography have concentration problems, they have low motivation, they have higher depression rates, they have more social anxiety, and they have more negative self-perception of themselves.
Yeah, what they're watching, it's got to be this.
Yeah, they think that's real. Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah. Yep. 1 Thessalonians 4, I think, is an amazing passage of scripture that talks about sexual sin. It says, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification or your holiness, that you abstain from sexual immorality, that each one of you know how to control his own body in holiness and honor." And that is the teaching point. That is for me as a husband, as a father, as a follower of God, as my wife, that we want to be holy before the Lord. And because we know what God has for us is the best thing.
Well, I mean, that word sanctification, I want to jump in a little bit and teach a little bit. The sanctification, it is God continuing to purify my life.
Yes.
and work to. We realize that when you receive Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you're not entirely sanctified. Jesus comes and lives in your life, but there's a growing process where I'm getting better every single day. It doesn't mean like, tomorrow I'm not going to fail. Doesn't mean I'm not going to not sin anymore. But man, that's why our prayer as fathers, as husbands, is going, God, sanctify my heart so that I can lead in the way you would want me to lead. Lead my family, lead my child, lead my wife, and ultimately God, because what happens is we have a battle inside of us. We have our spirit and our flesh battling back and forth, and what really pornography, what the dangers of the digital world, digital dangers, it's ultimately feeding the flesh and ultimately going to drown out the spirit in our lives. So then, man, the sanctification process is almost eliminated, and I say almost eliminated because obviously the Holy Spirit's working, so don't get caught up in that. But it's almost eliminated because of what the things you intake. You're intaking them, and then ultimately what you intake will come out. Yeah. It's just the law of the land.
Yeah, and I kind of wrapping up. Yeah. I've seen parents who feel like failures, and they're fighting this fight, and they've watched their kids struggle with things, and I just want to encourage you as one of your pastors, just keep fighting the fight. And I know you can get discouraged, but don't give up, right? We don't give up. We get back up and we go, okay, I'm going to keep fighting this fight because it's worth it, right? And there's so many access points, but keep fighting the fight. Don't give up. Don't feel like, man, I've failed here, I've failed here. Listen, we've all failed, right? We get back up and go, okay, how can I get better at this? How do I love my child well? And so just want to encourage you with that, because some of you can be really discouraged in this area.
Yeah, I mean,
keep fighting.
You're just because your kid is struggling with this doesn't make you a bad parent. And we realize, I mean, you talked about the percentages at the beginning of this time. They're huge. But we know one thing, that we are called, what would you say, to protect one another, to encourage one another, to spur each other on to good works, as the Bible teaches the church. And that's where the family of God comes into play. If you're in a men's group, you're in a women's group, you know somebody's struggling with this, or you're struggling with this, go to somebody in that group and go, hey, will you help me through this? Yeah. That's what the church is designed to be. We're not just talking families, the immediate family. We're talking the godly family, the church. This is called encouraging one another. And so hopefully you've been encouraged by this time. We wanted to walk you through some different things. We have so much more that we could have covered, but we want to keep it at a short time. But always want to encourage you. If you have questions, you can direct message us. You can email us. I do want to encourage you, the book that I talked about, Family Chemistry, it's free on our app. So you can download the River Church app. You just go to the App Center, and so you can download that.
That's an okay app to download. That's an okay app. Yeah, it's all right.
But you can see there's a daily devotion every single day of the year. And it's not just Family Month. Then there's different teachings on there, and there's lots of different sermons, and so you can see all those on there, and that's free. Or you can pick up the Family Chemistry app. You can pick it up on Amazon, or if you're in the area, swing by one of the River Church locations. You can pick it up. I do want to encourage you, not for our own sake, because you know what? Who cares about that? We'd love for you to share this talk, and so if it helps somebody, share and say, hey, you know what, this will help you in your life and raising kids or dealing with the struggles and battles. We want to build up godly children, godly families, but we know the dangers of the digital world are real, and we know we have to protect one another from them. And so,
yep, and if we can help you, any of the, youth guys, student guys, children guys, whatever we can do, you want to have conversations about how to maybe help with those things, let us know. We want to help you. Okay.
Bert, thanks for joining us today. We love you. Always want to encourage you. Anything we can do, let us know. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to hear from you or see you soon. Bye now.